y'all. We're doing moving and lifting today. We have a little assistant. We're here with the people that I work with. We're going to be doing some moving maneuvers. We're going to be using a stair chair, which I don't think you can see in the picture, but and a stretcher. We've got a scoop stretcher, a Z slider, and a Titan mat. I want you guys to remember that the Z slider and Titan mat have a symbiotic relationship. Ideally, you can use each one separately, but together they thrive. Together is what the main goal is. And of course, we're doing this all just to keep us safe and healthy, and remember to stretch before everything. Okay. So Eddie's going to be teaching too. Alright, so we're going to do the easy slide. Who wants to volunteer? James Sully's one.
You want to force you on there. Easy slider.
This
Fancy
is the
trash
easy
can.
slider. It's made to move the patients from the bed to the stretcher with ease, so you don't have to exert such a strong force on your spine.
You stand at Bob's ear. Stroke his hair so it'll be okay.
Yeah, if you want. Go ahead, get it in.
You can just kind of tell him what I'm doing. Yeah, pick his ear. Stick your finger in his ear. Alright.
You can put it on the other way so we can see what you're filming.
Just kind of tell him what I'm doing. Alright.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Slide it
Okay.
underneath.
So, say this is a patient that's on a bed at a nursing home, something like that, who's non-ambulatory or is not safe to stand and pivot and sit. You're going to use a Z slider, tuck it under them. Remember, if they have back problems or you want to do spinal mobile restriction, keep the head and neck straight.
This has to
Okay.
go between the cot and whatever he's laying on. So, under the sheet, cot mat's right here. Now, over. There. Just slide on the silk. Roll the cot over. Yep.
Okay, so with the Z slider, it's actually easier if the stretcher is in a higher position. But right now, since we're using a table instead of a bed, we're gonna make it even so that way it's a good steady pull. Bear is gonna assist with the feet.
So, slide her on the cot. It should be just a straight pinball.
Make sure to count together so you guys are on the same page.
On 3, 1, 2, 3. Slide across. 2.
And keep that Z slider underneath the patient, because when you're moving it from the stretcher to the bed, then it's a lot easier to do that. So this makes it so there's not as much friction. It's amazing how much better that it actually is. Okay, so now we're at the hospital, and we're gonna transition from the stretcher to the hospital bed. So you want to kind of roll the patient. Doesn't bend very well. Poor Bob. Got the arthritis. And you want to make sure that there's a good amount of space on there if there was a sheet on here, it would probably be a little bit easier. But then you're gonna do the same thing. This time James is gonna pull. Eddie shouldn't really have to push very much because with the friction, and James also shouldn't have to pull as much as he would if it was just a sheet. But with less friction, the patient should slide over well. I'll get his feet. Okay. Anybody have any questions on that? It's really, if you have not been using the Z-Slider, please make sure to use the Z-Slider. We've got lots of them. And for those who are working with the new people, if you don't prefer to use the Z-Slider, that is what we prefer. That is what operations prefers. But at least show them how to do it. You guys have all been through Fit Responder. You can show them how to do it. We might have to spinal Eddie by the end of the day.
I've not been drinking yet.
Okay. We're gonna use a Titan Mat now. Titan Mat is probably my favorite. My favorite tool that we have started to use. I mean, since I started, it's amazing how much easier it is. So this is Titan Mat. It's got handles.
Taylor Titan. Taylor. Don't forget.
Please don't use Fat Mat. That is not
No,
politically
very,
correct.
very bad.
Yeah,
Very bad.
yeah.
Whale sleeve. No.
None of that. So do you want to do it from the ground?
Lots of handles.
Or do you want to do it from the ground?
Let's put him up. Yeah, we can do it. Let's do it from the ground. Let's do it from the ground.
So I'm going to need a few more participants because Bob's going to have a
All
fall.
right, Bob, here.
And we're going to use spinal immobilization or spinal restriction to rotate the patient. And then, so let's put
Here,
him.
I can improvise. Oh, me sciatica. That's how you find him.
So Emma, you're going to help me. This is how you find him. Ethan, can you help too, please? Okay, step back real quick. Watch. Let Ethan tell you how it's done. So this is not of me teaching. This is all of us participating together. I'm gonna, yeah. Poor Bob. Okay, so we want to, first and foremost, we'll just say we check the patient's breathing, has an adequate pulse, all that. We want to roll him from the prone position to supine. So we want to,
We're supposed to hold his head up and rotate.
right, want to spinal restriction. And so I guess if he's like this, we should probably use that.
You want a long roll over that?
Yeah. I mean, we can use the Titan Mat. This is a good time to use the Titan Mat.
Anytime I made a mistake of not, if you have to move with the scoop stretcher, lay the Titan Mat on top of the scoop stretcher once you get, so you can roll the patient onto that, because you don't want them laying on this if they're all possible on the way to the hospital. So have this between him and that. That way when you get to the ER, all you gotta do is, he's on this now, and you can grab it and pull him over if you need to, because usually you're using that because they're inaccessible, they got a possible hit, or they're just in a bad spot. But, so, yeah.
And we're not
Even
gonna
show
keep
them how it
him.
comes apart. You know, how
Yeah,
it comes apart.
we're not gonna keep him on the scoop stretcher, right? We
This is
don't-
just a moving from where he's
Okay.
at to the bed.
Have you ever used a scoop stretcher? Okay.
There's buttons.
Yeah. With no weight, it's going to come apart very easily. With weight on it, it's going to be tough. So, it's just 2 points on the bottom, 2 buttons to push in simultaneously, pull it out. The head is usually the hardest one to do. swing it out, and then you go like that and then slide it up off the patient. That's usually how you're going to get it off. But together, and then showing this. This extends, so out, very dirty. There you go. Pull it out with this.
For tall ones like
So
that.
it extends. You got different points. So Bob's about average. There you go. Locked around.
Okay, so let's get him on this.
Okay.
Sorry, yes. So when you, for those students that we're filming for, or other employees who we haven't got to spinal mobilization yet, we will, but we're gonna have someone hold his spine straight so we don't risk any spinal injury or worsen, and then we're gonna roll him.
Hey.
So you wanna lift that arm up? No, we're gonna roll him that way towards the mat. So we wanna make sure that his neck, his hips, and his legs all move at the same time. Okay. Ready, Eddie? So the person at the head always makes the call.
His arm doesn't move very well.
Oh, he's broken. Oh, sorry, he's broken. So now we're gonna go from the floor position to the stretcher.
It is. How much you got on?
Okay, so the cool thing about these tarps is you can actually make like a pocket if you put the handles on each other. Yeah, that's awesome. So you can use this one and do that. So then it's a
That would be good.
it's a pocket. It is. That's why I love this. Okay. So you want to make sure that you have the proper stance, of course. You want your back to be straight. Ideally, you stretched before every shift. And then we're going to lift. So because the head is generally heavier than the legs, they're actually going to lift first and move him over. And then the legs are going to come after that. Okay, so we like to say ready, set, lift instead of 1, 2, 3. Okay.
Ready, set, lift.
So tight mat's supposed to make it to where it's so much easier. I really do love the tight mat. The more you use it, the more you find ways to lift the patient in a safe and effective manner. What used to take 8 people, you can now do with 2 or 3 people. And it's gonna look strange, but when you're lifting, remember when he was at the head, he was lifting first. So you're not squatted down like this the whole time. It's a little easier if you've got the feet. Squat down and rest your elbows on your thighs. So that way when you're lifting with your legs, you're not lifting
Use your
with your
butt.
arms. Yeah. And then the same goes, we'll put them over here on the hospital bed.
You're taking mom to the Montgomery Trauma Center.
Always when you move the patient, which way do we go?
Head first.
We go head first?
Feet first. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
okay. Yeah, we go feet first. Always. Including in an elevator. Okay. I'm short, so I always have to use two things. And it just is so much easier than using a sheet because this doesn't give away like a sheet does, especially in like nursing homes. You go to Autumn Care to move a patient, they've got those stretchy sheets. Even across the street at the hospital, they've got those stretchy sheets. This does not have any give, and I apologize, I don't remember what it's rated for. What's 700 pounds, I think. Yeah, 750. Okay,
Don't
so
leave this. Don't leave it. Take
Yes.
it easy unless it's just absolutely life or death.
we're gonna do one more thing. I know it's hot. I'm sorry. You guys can't see, but we're social distancing. So this is the stair chair. This will be your second best friend to that. This, Ethan, you want to come explain the uses of the stair chair?
The what?
Explain how the stair chair works.
What do you mean explain?
What are the parts of it? Let's put it how we get it off the truck.
We're not telling them that, obviously, because they know. We're telling
Well, both. I mean, because Emma's new, James is new. We've all been through this.
Jeff is new.
Yeah, Haywood's definitely.
Yeah, alright, so when you find it, most of you already know, you're gonna find it in the back of the truck in the corner, it's gonna be like that with seatbelt. Buckle it, unbuckle it, get it out, take it wherever you need it. This folds down, alright, and then it locks. See, you see, handles, lock, lock,
Something to remember, sorry, Ethan, is
Yeah, go ahead.
every red part
moves.
moves.
So don't go get your patient on it, going down 2 blocks of stairs and get pulling on stuff. Or you're gonna have a bad day.
Oh, God almighty.
Yeah, okay, disease fail right here. Really fail.
Yeah, I'm good. That's a growing point.
The old stair chairs, what
Okay.
color code is.
So this is for patients who are non-ambulatory. They maybe have an injury or they don't walk. You gotta go downstairs. I'm gonna sit on it because obviously we never really put small patients on here. Okay. Now explain.
Alright. Straps. Straps. You put everybody in straps. They're color coded green to green. Across there. Black to black. She tightened it down. Normally they don't do that.
And you have to tell the patient, please don't grab
Yeah.
anything.
Don't go to grabbing stuff.
Because
go
they'll
down the
forever
stairs.
wanna. Oh yeah.
That's extended. Alright, I'm gonna spin you around so they can see. So your students at your video taking so they can see. Going downstairs, the old ones did not have these. This is a lifesaver. So all you gotta do is when you go down the steps, and we're not gonna do it because obviously we don't have steps. So all you have to do is lean the patient back. So you're gonna have somebody in front of the patient, holding those two handles, somebody behind the patient. You're gonna lean them back. where this is running down the steps, and it just tracks down the steps. Yep. Just let it extend up and down. If you need it, that's wherever. It took me 6 months to figure that out. Yeah.
So I don't have a problem with this because I'm fun size, but there are lots of patients who are much too tall for this. So you've got to kind of convince them to tuck their feet back. There is a strap down here for your ankles, but that's not always feasible. People have lymphedema, obese patients, or patients who have less mobility in their knees when they got arthritis. That is going to be your biggest hindrance when it comes to the stair chair.
And I mean, let's face it, people ain't gonna listen when you pick them up majority of the time. So if I'm rolling them, just roll them out of the house, I would just roll them backwards so you ain't gotta worry about it.
Yeah, because if you roll forward,
Then you're probably gonna get your feet hung up in there, and then they're gonna fuss and holler at you that you're hurting them and not doing your job and all that stuff.
yeah, because their feet are going to drag. So if you're going forward, it's like in a wheelchair. Okay.
But this thing's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah. Do we have any questions? This is like a super condensed version. Obviously, we need to have a more detailed one, but this is a quick con ed for everybody.
How do you fold it back up? Because some people have a problem folding it back up.
It's in a locked position, so the top red bar is for the tracks. The bottom red bar releases the seat. Yep. And this folds up on itself. Pull the straps inside.
Somewhere, just get them out of the way. You're gonna fall right there.
I know these things locks, man. I ain't got no traction on.
I mean, like,
And it should have a usually like
and you can make sure that these are unlocked. I've made this mistake many, many times. So that way you can carry it like this. Because if you lock those wheels, if they're still locked, which when you get the patient up and put them on the stretcher, let me make that clear. Those should be locked. Keep them locked. But if you're trying to do it, you'll see that that wheel doesn't move, and it's so much more of a burden. So we're gonna close this up. Just remember, keep a straight posture. Lift with your legs and your butt, not with your arms. Eat healthy, stretch. Above all, keep safe. Love y'all. Thank you.
Be like